where I told you why conservation of plants and animals is necessary. And we learned how everything is interlinked, whether it be biotic or abiotic component of the earth, or whether it be plants and animals, how all of them are interlinked and interdependent in some way, right? Like the plants or animals, they share a very close relationship. They are affecting each other in numerous ways. Like the survival of all the plants, all the animals are dependent upon plants, right? And in some way, we are also influencing the plants, right? As we are cutting the plants or as we are destroying the forest, so we are affecting them as well. So in the chapter, we have to learn about deforestation and its causes, consequences of deforestation, conservation of forestation, right? And then there are some areas that are assigned for conservation of the wildlife, conservation of the plants and animals. Getting it? So for that purpose, government have created a special places, like we have a wildlife biosphere reserve, we have national parks, we have um, zoological gardens, we have botanical gardens, right? And we have wildlife sanctuaries, we should be learning in the class. Then we have red data book. We'll be learning about that. Why certain animals do migration. What is recycling of paper? How it is done? What is the procedure of recycling of paper? What is reforestation? What are important forest acts? What is a project Tiger? All of those things we'll be discussing in the class. But before that, there are some basic things that needs to be cleared. Like you see, our Earth have been divided into different zones or different spheres. Hmm? A sphere refers to an area, like the area or the part of the earth that is made up of air, basically, or if air, gases, uh, that is called as atmosphere, right? Atmosphere has got different layers. Troposphere is there, uh, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, exosphere. That makes up the atmosphere. In geography, you would have studied about that. By the way, am I visible in the class or not? Yeah, I am.
Yes, sir.
So the part of the earth that is made up of gases, different kind of gases, that is called as atmosphere. The part of the earth like the oceans, seas, lakes, ponds, rivers, water streams, all of them forms the hydrosphere. Hydro refers to water. To the part of the earth that contains water is called as hydrosphere.
Okay, sir.
Furthermore, talking about the land, right? So the part of the earth that is comprised of land, that is called as geosphere, or also called as lithosphere. Also called as lithosphere. Geosphere, geo refers to earth. Lithosphere refers to land. So it is taken in the same context, right now. So lithosphere, the part of the earth that is basically covered with land, that is called lithosphere. Now you see, will life be possible if any one of these components were absent? Yes, Ibrahim, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, a question to both of you. Will life be possible if atmosphere, or if let's say hydrosphere, or if it's let's say lithosphere, if any one of them were to be absent on Earth?
No, sir.
No. Right? So all these three spheres makes a life supporting zone on Earth. Makes a life supporting zone on Earth that is called as biosphere, as you can see over here. So we have taken one example of a living entity like this plant. So plant has to do photosynthesis and transpiration, so it does so in the air. Right now, from air it would be taking carbon dioxide gas, and the roots are in the soil. So lithosphere is also important for this plant. Water is also important for this plant. So all these three zones would be interacting with each other to make the life possible. So it's the life supporting zone of the earth where the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere would be interacting with each other to make life possible. That is called as biosphere. So biosphere is the life supporting zone of earth. So is that clear to both of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Good. Then there's another term we should be more often using in the class. So thereby you should be aware of the term biodiversity. So you see that when you look around yourself, or if you happen to visit a forest, there you will find that there's a wide variety of different organisms surrounding us. Different kind of animals are there, plants are there, different kind of funguses are there, different kind of microorganisms are there, that is making up our natural world. So biodiversity, bio here refers to life, and diversity, it is basically the variety. Hmm. So as in the image itself, you can look at the variety in the organisms, variety in the life. There's aquatic animals, there are terrestrial animals, there are animals that would be living on the plants, living nesting on the making nests on the plants and living there. So organ life is found to exist in different habitats, whether it be aquatic, whether it be terrestrial, whether it be mountainous, or whether it be grasslands, right? So we see that we are surrounded by a very rich species of life. So that is simply called as biodiversity. So it's the variety. How do we define this as? It's the variety and see, it is the variety and or we can say it's the variety or a kind of like how do we put it? Like we can say it's um, a variety and variability of life on Earth. Hmm? So it's the variety and richness of life on Earth. So that is what biodiversity is. Getting it? Our world is surrounded with different kind of animals, plants, funguses, different kind of bacteria, different kind of microorganisms, basically. So that is what biodiversity is. Hope you guys have understood this. Okay, now? And biodiversity can be measured at different levels. Like the biodiversity in the area that you are living would be different. But if you happen to visit a Amazon rainforest, their biodiversity would be more rich. Like the area that you would be living in. What kind of animals do you see in the area that you live? Normally, you'd be seeing some species of birds, some, let's say, cats, some dogs. That's all. You don't happen to see camels or like the reindeer or the tiger or other kind of animals in the area that you are living, right? There would be certain species of domesticated plants as well. So on that level, the biodiversity is limited and it's different from that of Amazon rainforest. So when you have, if you happen to visit the Amazon rainforest, so there's a wide variety of species in Amazon rainforest. Getting it? So that's a different thing. The Amazon rainforest is said to have about more than 4 or 500 species of different kind of mammals. There are if about 14 or 1500 species of birds. Uh, there are about 400 and something species of reptiles found in the Amazon rainforest. Right. So, do you guys happen to see 1300 different kind of birds in your locality, in your local area? No. So biodiversity, it is different at different levels. You guys getting this point which we have discussed?
Yes, sir.
It is different at
Yes.
different levels, and both of you turn your cameras on in the class. Okay. Furthermore, there's another term which you should understand, that is wildlife. Ibrahim, please read the given paragraph.
Yes, sir. The wildlife mainly means birds, plants, animals, etc., which are living in a forest. Wildlife also balances our earth, so it also helps in the economy of our country as well as the world. Wildlife also plays a significant role for tourism.
So basically, wildlife would be basically all the different kind of birds, plants, or animals which would be living in their natural habitat and not being domesticated by we humans, right? So if you happen to domesticate a cat, so the cat will not be then considered as a wild animal because you have domesticated it. But if the species of different organisms are found in their natural habitat, that is in the forest, or whether it be in the mountains, whether it be in the aquatic habitat, then that is called as wildlife. Getting this term now? There's a difference between wild organisms and domesticated organisms, right? So the wildlife, different species of plants and animals, they are very much essential for maintaining balance on our earth, right? A balance in the food chain. Getting it, guys? Or in the food web, you can say. So even if like population of one species in the wildlife were to be threatened or were to be extinct, it would be um, harming or influencing other species in the wildlife also. Let us say, for example, the let us say that what happens, let us say the carnivores like this cheetah or leopards or lions, their population were to decrease drastically, then in that case what will happen, the population of herbivores would be increasing at an alarming rate. Then in turn what will happen, they will graze all the forests, they will start to eat all the plants. So in that case, the balance in the forest will be disturbed now. Try to understand and relate this thing. Yes, Aisha and Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
So in that manner, wildlife is important because it maintains the balance on Earth, and they're a good attraction for the tourist also. So wherever a good amount of wildlife would be present, that would be attracting a good number of tourists. I mean to say. Okay, this is the same thing which we have discussed moments ago, biodiversity. Right now, before wildlife, we discussed about this, that it's the number of variety of plants, animals, and other organisms that would be living in a given ecosystem. So biodiversity measures two things. Hmm? It would be measuring the variety of organisms, and the number of organisms also that would be living in a given place. Bio means life, and diversity simply means variety. Okay, now? So that is something which we have done. Then there's another term that is called as food chain. So food chain, you all would be aware of this, right? So one of you please define what is food chain. As a kid, you
Food
guys would
chain
have learned.
is
Yeah,
when food chain is when an animal depends on another animal for its
for its food, for obtaining nutrition. Good. Yes. What about you, Aisha?
One organism eats another organism for its life.
For its life to get energy from it, right? So
Yes.
we can see that here it's simply a diagrammatic representation actually. Right now, it's not like there's a series in which all these animals have lined up to eat one another. That's not the case. Like in a series, they have lined up one after another to eat each other. No, it's basically a diagrammatic representation which shows the flow of food or flow of energy in one direction. So via this diagrammatic representation, we show the transfer of energy from one organism to another. So transfer of energy takes place. So transfer of energy takes place. So it's a diagrammatic representation with the help of which we show the transfer of energy from one organism to another, where one would be eating another organism right now to obtain energy. And in this manner, flow of energy and flow of energy, or we can say flow of nutrients, also takes place. Nutrients also takes place. So hope that is clear. That is what food chain is. Then another term is ecosystem. So ecosystem will be basically like as you can see in this image over here. Hmm? So you see over here, like look at the first image in this. We have an organism, right? Then you have multiple numbers of organism of that same species that makes up a population. Yeah, human population, deer population, tiger population, etc. In a population, animals or plants of same species are present. isn't it? Right now, both of you getting this concept now.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Good. Then we have community. In community, there's different populations are present. Population of deer, the zebra, and this wild goats are present, and its others. That makes up a community. But then when we talk about ecosystem, look at the last image, this ecosystem. So in this ecosystem, you not only would be able to observe the biotic components like the different kind of organisms, like this bird or this elephant or the deers, etc. You'd be plants also, but it also includes the water body, the rocks over here, the sun over here, the cloud over here. So the ecosystem includes all the living things and the non-living things also, like it could be the sun. Yeah, it could be sun, it could be the climate of that area, it could be the soil, it could be the water, it could be the rocks of that area. So the living organisms in this, like this bird is sipping water, drinking water from this, for example. So they are interacting with their environment. Hmm? Getting it now? The elephants would too be drinking water from this. So the living components and non-living components, they would be interacting with each other in an ecosystem. You guys are able to understand this thing or not? Please let me know. That's a basic thing, by the way. So
Yes,
Yes,
talking
sir.
about ecosystem, it includes biotic plus abiotic component. Abiotic component. And they both will be interacting with each other now. So there's an interaction between them, not like a interaction between between friends or families. Like it's a different kind of interaction. Right now, it's a different kind of interaction. Or each organism in this ecosystem have got different role to play, or each component in this ecosystem have got different role to play. Getting it? And all of them are important for this ecosystem. So hope you guys have understood this. Okay, so we are going to begin the next topic, but before that, Aisha, please read this given paragraph.
Plants and animals are the backbone of life on the earth. It is important to conserve them and save them from getting extinct, maintaining their right population that help in enriching the biodiversity or the richness of flora and fauna worldwide. Deforestation or cutting down trees is considered as one of the major problems associated with the conservation of plants and animals.
So see, the plants and animals, they are being referred to as the backbone of life on Earth, right? So why it is so? Because we see that for the continuity of life on Earth, both plants and animals are important. Even if one of them were to be extinct, the other would be influenced, the other would be harmed, right? So the one major cause that is putting the animals, putting the plants in danger is the deforestation. Getting it? So deforestation has a big impact on the population, on the life on Earth, right? Because the life on Earth is mainly uh, it's driven by a lot of factors. One of them is the plants, right? Now plants are like being referred to as the green lungs of the Earth, right? So what is happening in the recent few decades, like in the past 100 years? What is happening? We have seen that so many species of animals have gone extinct, like the dodo bird. We have certain examples of plants and so many animals that have gone extinct, or some of them are now endangered. Why? Because their habitat is being lost due to climatic changes. The climate is changing. You see, the polar bears are also are endangered animals now because of habitat destruction. As you see, due to pollution, due to high emission of carbon dioxide and other gases in the environment, it is leading to global warming, and global warming leads to melting of the polar ice caps, the glaciers. So in that manner, we see that the habitat of the polar bears, or the those animals living in the polar regions, their habitat is being lost, right? Slowly it is being lost. Same thing would have happened for other animals also that went extinct. Their habitats have been lost, right? Or the forest cleared down for industrial purposes and to obtain wood from the plants. So the one major cause for depletion of plants, depletion of organisms is considered as deforestation as well. Getting it? So we are going to learn about deforestation in a moment and what are its consequences and causes. But before that, both of you answer the given questions in the class only. Yes. Name the part of Earth which supports the biodiversity.
Biosphere.
What about you, Brian?
I don't.
Ibrahim, usually your voice is not very clear in the class. It's kind of stuck in between.
I don't know.
It's biosphere. As in the beginning, we were discussing about the biosphere. Okay. Then another question is, what is the major threat to survival of organism? Major threat.
Deforestation.
There are multiple. Like one of them is deforestation. Good. So that is considered as one of the major cause of major threat to survival of organisms, right? Okay. So we are going to learn about this in a moment. I will be just back in a minute. Okay, now there's someone on the door. I will be just back in a minute. Meanwhile, you guys um, read this paragraph. Okay, now both of you yourself read this. I will be back in just a minute. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. So talking about deforestation. Deforestation is basically defined as the cutting of the trees or basically loss of the trees at a large scale. Like if you happen to cut a tree in your garden, um, so that will not be considered as deforestation. Deforestation, we talk about deforestation whenever trees are fell down or they are cut or they somehow are lost at a large scale. It could either be due to the cutting done by the humans, or it could be either due to natural reasons like a forest fire, right? So that will be considered as deforestation. It's the basically destruction of forest. One of the main cause for deforestation is by cutting down. So thereby, in definition, many times we usually define it as destruction of forest by cutting down trees. But forest can be lost via forest fire also, isn't it, Aisha, Ibrahim? Right now.
Yes.
Now, the main problem of deforestation is that the immediate impact of deforestation is it leads to loss of habitat for many animals, for the birds, for the animals that would be making nest in the trees. Getting it? Got this now. So that's the immediate impact of deforestation. But in talking about the long-term impact of deforestation, there are so many long-term impacts of deforestation. Can you guys think of this? Hmm? Like, what are the long-term impacts of deforestation? Hmm? This thing I told you, this is the immediate impact now. A bird has made nest on the tree. You just went there and cut down the tree. The bird lost its home. That's the immediate impact. But if I were to ask you what is the long term impact, okay, let me help you with this. The long term impact would be like the climate. It would be responsible for change in climate, right? So changes in climate, it can lead to flood also, right? It can lead to flood, and flood in turn will it will cause soil erosion. Getting it, both of you?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes.
Furthermore, we get to see that the concentration of carbon dioxide is going to increase in the atmosphere, because if there are lesser plants, so lesser carbon dioxide will be taken up by the plants, right? So increase in CO2, or indirectly we can say that it will be leading to global warming as well. Hmm. Increase the rate of global warming, we can say that as well, right now. So these are the long term impacts, right now. Deforestation, these are the long term impacts of deforestation. Okay, now, so hope you guys have got this thing. Hmm? Now
Yes, sir.
you guys tell me, think of this like, what does the research shows about deforestation? Is it like a declining, or has it increased in the recent year? If you were to talk about deforestation, like we get to see that in the recent years it has decreased, but not at that much, not at a very good rate, although due to so many um, awareness programs run by different um, climatists and different organizations, the rate of deforestation has slowed down, but it doesn't not slowed down at a significant amount, at a significant rate, right now. All the scientists agree on one thing about deforestation, that it is now intensifying the climate change at a very dramatic and at a very crucial rate. Like the deforestation in a long term has impacted our climate very much. Getting it now? Apart from other things as well. Now here some these are the causes of deforestation. So the causes of deforestation are as follows. See, as the population of the world is increasing, so their demand is increasing. Hmm? More and more homes are being constructed, more and more furnitures are required. So for that purpose, wood would be cut down for right now. So for timber production, right? Timber are the straight cut out pieces of wood from the wood, right? And cut into these shapes. That is called as timber. Furthermore, we see that one of the cause of deforestation is forest fire also, right? That's a natural cause. Now we all know that land is a limited resource. You can't expand the land, right? Now the area of the land is limited. So as the population is increasing, so more and more food demand is also increasing. So the agricultural land is limited now. So we can't do agriculture on the water body or on the mountain. So thereby the existing forests are being cleared down to obtain land for agricultural expansion, to do agriculture. Getting it getting it, all of you? So that is one more reason, right? One reason is forest fire, one reason is mining. Suppose in a forest, a very important mineral is found. Let us say there's a forest in which gold is found. So then what will be happening? That forest would be cleared down to mine that gold out of that area. Hmm? So many times mining is also one of the cause of deforestation. Okay. Okay. So the first 3 points, Aisha, you will be reading. The next last two, Ibrahim. Quickly read this.
Forests are being converted to agricultural land to feed the world's rising population. Trees are felled for various reasons, including timber, firewood, and cow ranching. Splash and burn culture, known in India's northeastern states as jhum cultivation, has also contributed to deforestation.
Okay, good. In this, there's a one term which you guys would not have understood. That is cow ranching. Yeah. See, cow ranching is basically, you can say that you all would have seen a cow farm, a large area where the cows would be kept, right? So many
Yes,
times forest should be cleared for cow ranching also. Getting it? So where basically a cow rancher, a person who would be basically maintaining or managing a large farm. So a large farm would be used for raising the cattle, or it could be for raising sheep, goats, or horses, etc. So say a rancher who would be raising the cattle or sheep or horses or goats, etc. He is in need of a large area, so he would be clearing down the forest to obtain an empty area. So that is called as cow ranching. Okay, now the practice of keeping a large number of cows in a closed area, right? And that is called as ranching, cow ranching particularly. Okay. So for that purpose, also many times people would be doing that, or to obtain timber, or that to obtain firewood. That is one thing. The third thing here is that slash and burn agriculture, known in India's northeastern state as jhum cultivation, has also contributed to deforestation. See, there's a kind of agriculture called as slash and burn, and in particularly northeastern states of India, like in Assam, or in Mizoram or in Nagaland, it is usually practiced. And there it is called as jhum cultivation. So the question is, what is this jhum cultivation? The question is, what is jhum cultivation? So see, basically in this, what they would be doing now, so people would put the forest on fire. What people are going to do, they would basically, it's a kind of a traditional practice in which what people are going to do, people would go to a particular forest, right? And usually it is practiced by the tribal people, keep that in mind. Usually it is practiced by um, tribal people. So they will go to a forest, they will burn the forest. What they do, they will burn the forest, right? Now, so rather than cutting down all the trees in the given forest, what they simply do, they are going to simply pour petrol or diesel on that forest, and they will burn down all the trees, right? And then they will return back to that forest after 2 or 3 months, right? And all the things would have decomposed, then they will start to do farming. So thereby it is called as slash and burn agriculture also. Slash and burn agriculture. So that is also one of the major cause of deforestation. So in this manner, what is happening? The forest is being cleared by burning the vegetation right now. So here all the vegetation would be burnt, right? So then after burning it, it would be abandoned for like 3 to 4 months so that all the things decomposes and mixes in the soil properly, right? And then cultivation will be done on this. And once the cultivation would be done on this, they would be like cultivating the crops on this burnt forest for a few years, and then again they will leave it abandoned. They will abandon it. Then again move on to next forest to do this slash and burn agriculture practice. So this jhum cultivation or slash and burn agriculture, is this clear to everyone, or please let me know?
yes, sir, it's clear.
Clear? So they would be basically doing farming by simply burning the vegetation of the forest, right? And then leave it for some time so that everything decomposes, and then do cultivation for some year. Once the fertility of soil would be lost, move on to next forest to burn it. It's like that. Okay. Next two paragraph, next two line you read, Ibrahim. The other two paragraphs.
Okay. Construction of houses and other structures. Forest fires are sparked by lightning and other natural phenomena.
Right. So we see that construction of houses and other structures like industries also requires a good amount of wood. For that purpose, also it is being done. Another natural cause is forest fire. That could be due to lightning or some other natural phenomena. Of forest fire many times is one of the main cause of forest fire is human activities also. Like if group of people happen to visit a forest and um, they had a campfire and they didn't extinguish the campfire properly, so that campfire can also lead to forest fire. Or they have thrown a lighter, so that can also lead to forest fire. Then as a result of deforestation, what is happening? What are the impact on the environment? Okay, is my slide not visible?
No, sir,
Then
it's visible.
you can see the consequences of deforestation. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
due to deforestation, what we are seeing that the concentration of carbon dioxide gas is increasing, right? Because what we have learned about the process of photosynthesis, in the process of photosynthesis plants takes up this carbon dioxide gas, right? So if there are less carbon dioxide gas or less plants, so less carbon dioxide gas will be taken up by the plants, right? Now, so see that earlier we had a dense forest, we had a dense forest like this, we had a dense forest like this, let's say. Now people have cut down the forest, so it is a barren land, it's a land like this, no forest. Got this? So earlier they were taking up the carbon dioxide gas that was released into the atmosphere due to human activities, due to burning of fossil fuels, um, um, due to vehicles, and due to smoke coming from the chimneys. This carbon dioxide gas was being absorbed by the plants. Right now, so balance was maintained in the air. But now, since there are no plants, so thereby this carbon dioxide gas will be accumulated in the atmosphere now, right? And in turn, so here we are getting to see that the concentration of this carbon dioxide gas is going to increase in atmosphere, and that has adverse effects on the environment as it leads to global warming. Got this now? So hope you are able to relate with this basic thing. It also causes loss of biodiversity, as the habitat of the organism would be disturbed, it would be destructed. So in that manner, it would be a threat for the survival of that organism. So if the species of of a particular living organism is threatened, so thereby it is going to impact the biodiversity also. The biodiversity will be lost. If there were, let us say, 100 species in a given area, so due to habitat loss, let's say 10 of them died. So there's only 90 species of living organism in a given area now. Try to understand this thing, guys. Earlier, let's say there were 100 species of different organisms. Now, due to deforestation, some of them lost their habitat to such an extent that their population also declined drastically. And let us say that now only 90 species of organisms are alive. So biodiversity has decreased from 100 to 90. There's a loss of biodiversity, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. That is one thing. By the way, we are going to learn all of them in detail, so no need to worry about that. It would lead to desertification also, where a fertile green land would slowly convert into a into a desert. So we'll be learning about that also. It also disrupts the hydrologic cycle or water cycle. Deforestation does that also, and it causes soil erosion as well. Getting it, guys? And desertification earlier I told you, and global warming will also be caused due to deforestation. Hope you guys are getting that. Okay.
Yes.
Have a look at this image as well. That basically, in a diagrammatic manner, sums up the impact of deforestation, effects of deforestation, or consequences of deforestation. So have a quick look at this, by the way. Then we're going to move to the next topic. Okay. Okay. Should we move to the next topic then?
Yes, sir.
Good then. So the very first thing over here, like one of the thing that happens due to deforestation is the loss of the biodiversity. Mm. As in this image, you can look over here. As the forests are being cleared down, some of these animals seems to have lost their habitat. Right now, what is the name of this animal, by the way? Anyone? Hmm? Okay, you guys tell me. Oh, what's the slowest mammal on Earth? What's the slowest mammal?
Sloth.
Sloth. Very good. So this is sloth. The one that you see over here, that is called a sloth. Okay, Aisha, Ibrahim, this is
Yeah.
sloth.
Yes.
I'm writing over here. Okay, as LOTH. So that's the slowest moving mammal, not animal, mammal. I'm saying. Okay. So they are also losing their diversity. They are also losing their habitat, like this bear or this ape or the bird. Like, so one of the consequences that they would be losing their habitat as well. As we know, like about 31% of the surface of the earth is covered by the forest. How much? 31% of the earth's land surface is covered with forest, right? So if we continue to do deforestation at this alarming rate, so obviously this will be having a direct impact on the different species of plants and different species of animals in the forest now. So thereby it is directly leading to lead it will directly lead to loss of biodiversity. Huh? I should do one thing, read the given paragraph, please.
About 31% of Earth's land surface is covered by forests. Deforestation can directly lead to biodiversity loss when animal
Species, species.
species that live in the trees no longer have their habitat, cannot relocate and therefore become extinct. Deforestation can lead certain species to permanently disappear, which affects biodiversity of plant species in an environment.
Okay. So here talking about one of the consequences of deforestation, as we know that about 31% of the Earth's land surface is covered by the forest, right? And forests are home to a wide variety of plants and animals, right? And say for example, why some due to some natural disaster, if our homes are uh, destroyed, so then we have this capacity that we can relocate to another location, let's say. How we can rebuild our house, we can move to a different town. But do animals have such do they have such capabilities? Do they have such luxury? No. Getting it, guys? So they can't relocate by themselves to a new area, right? They themselves can't do so. So that is another problem for them. Getting it now? So deforestation can lead to disappearance of not just the animals but of plants as well. Okay, so that is one thing. Another thing is about drafts, right? So draft is basically referred to to a prolonged dry condition in a given area where it wouldn't have rain for few years. From it could be 2 3 4 or up to 10 years right now. So it's a prolonged dry period in the natural climate cycle that can occur anywhere in the world, right? So it is a slow onset disaster. It's said to be a very slow disaster. So draft, it's considered as a disaster. Why? Because um, we see that in this image, as you can see, all these cattles that are laying down, they are not sleeping, they are dead actually. You can see the carcass of the one of the cattle here as well, a dead body, all these dead bodies. So that is due to draft. Yeah, that is due to draft. Getting it? So drought, we say it's a prolonged dry period in the natural climate cycle that can occur anywhere in the world, and it's a slow onset disaster characterized by the lack of rainfall, resulting in the shortage of water in a given area. So it would be seriously impacting the vegetation of that area. All the vegetation is going to dry up. Hmm. The water bodies, whatever water bodies are there, rain fed water bodies like many of the ponds, their water is refilled due to rainfall. So if there's no rain in few years, like for a long period of time, so the water bodies like ponds or small rivers or lakes, they would be drying up. So there will be a shortage of water. The wells would dry up if there is no rainfall for a long period of time. So that would be seriously impacting all the life on that area, in that given region. Mm. So as you can see in this image, there's very less vegetation. The cattle are dying. Then people that were living in that area, like you will generally see that deserts are very less dense. Mm. They are not densely populated. Yes, isn't it? Look in the second image, by the way. There are just few homes over here, few huts, hmm, because of harsh climatic condition in a desert. Getting it? So it would be impacting the health of the people living there. People would be suffering from certain problems, kidney problems. Right? It's one of the most common problem people living in a desert would be suffering from. Suffering from kidney stones. Many times they would be suffering from goiter as well. Hmm. Then people have to relocate from that area to another area in search of work, in search of better life opportunities, etc. So that is water drought. It's a prolonged dry period. Drought is not a physical place. Desert is a physical place. Drought is considered as a prolonged dry period, a kind of a phenomena that happens in the that can happen anywhere in the world. Okay, na? So it's kind of a slow disaster where there will be almost no rainfall. There will be acute shortage of water that will lead to serious impact on the health, on the agriculture, on the economy of that region, and on the environment. Getting this thing? Then we have this question: what are the human causes of drought? What are the human causes of drought? So there also um, deforestation will be the main culprit, isn't it, Aisha, Ibrahim? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So say if we have cut down all the forest in that area, so thereby what will happen? The water table is going to go down now, because what do we know that the roots of the plants, they hold the water, isn't it? See, particularly in the deserts, the roots are very they grow very deep. Okay, no, they are several feet long. Okay. So say what happened once this land, which is now a desert, had a good amount of trees in it. But if someone happened to cut down all these trees or clear down the forest, so the roots are also going to die. As if the plant has died, the root is also going to die, right? But earlier, what happened? We know that roots would be maintaining the water table. It maintains the level of the water because roots would be sucking up the water, and it would be kind of pulling the water and thereby holds the water. Getting and try to understand this thing. It would be holding the water and not will not it will prevent the water table from going down. But as you have cut down the tree, so will the water table be maintained at a certain level, or will the water go down? You guys understanding this concept, what I'm trying to say?
We will go down.
It will go down now, right, Ibrahim? So in that manner also deforestation is responsible. Getting it now? So the human activities can directly trigger this draft right now. So if there are no vegetation, Will it also not disrupt the water cycle if there are less
Yes.
vegetation? So there will be less evaporation, hence water cycle will also be impact. So if there will be no rainfall in that area due to disturbance in water cycle, there will be no rainfall. So that is one thing. Furthermore, how are people impacted by the draft? So people are impacted by draft in a number of ways. Like there's a risk of famine. People can suffer from famine. Famine, you guys understand what is famine? Yes, Ibrahim, what is famine? It's a extreme shortage of, yes, it says extreme shortage, extreme scarcity of food. Okay. And famine can happen due to a number of reasons. If there's a war in a region, if there's a war in a region, or if there's some natural disaster in a given region, or at a wide scale, there has been a crop failure right now, or let's say the country suffers from a very serious condition of poverty, or the government has collapsed. But one of the reason is draft also right now. So if there is a drought in that region, so the agriculture will be impacted. So if there's agriculture is impacted, so there will be very less crop production or no production. So there is going to be shortage of food. So people are in the risk of famine also. Getting it what I'm trying to say? A simple thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is malnutrition. So you would have learned about the malnutrition previously. Yes, Ibrahim, Aisha, what is malnutrition? Yes.
People not receiving enough nutrients.
Hmm, very good. So like their diet would not be balanced right now. So there would be absence of essential nutrients in their diet right now. So malnutrition basically refers to deficiency of important or essential nutrients in our diet. Getting it now? So a person who is not getting a sufficient amount of carbohydrates or proteins or vitamins or minerals, so thereby they will be called they would be suffering from the condition called as malnutrition. Furthermore, if a person is malnourished, so he'd be exposed to certain kind of diseases also. His immune will be weak, so thereby he will be easily infected by the pathogens, by the disease causing bacteria. Now, it can cause wildfires also. Aisha, please explain how it can cause wildfire. How drought will lead to wildfire. Hmm, yes. How
Mm,
drought will lead to wildfire. Like in a desert, there could be some grasses, some trees can be present there. Some of them.
fuels,
Hmm.
uh,
Mhm.
biofuels like petrol, diesel.
No, no, not in that context. Not in that context. See, basically, in the deserts, there's a lack of water, right? All the water sources would have dried up right now. So then what happens? The trees would also dry up. The trees all also dry up. Branches and the leaves, all of it would have dried up. Grasses would have dried up, right? So, or also in a desert, hot winds would be flowing. So as the hot winds would be flowing, so the branches of the tree or the grasses would be rubbing against each other. As they move against each other, due to friction, heat would be generated. And usually in the desert, the temperature would be usually around 45 or 50 degrees Celsius. Can go more than 45. So due to heat and due to the dry plants and grasses, all of that would be acting as a fuel for fire. So in that manner, for wildfire would be would happen. So where grasses and trees, once it dries out, once they become very much dry, so then they becomes very much flammable, and they are flammable. They can easily catch fire if that if the temperature increases. Furthermore, many times people will be displaced. They have to move to another place in search of, like, if they're suffering from disease, so they might move to another place for treatment or for job opportunities or for better life conditions or to avoid war. Not war, I would say. No, not this one. Getting this now. This is how people would be impacted by that. So hope you guys have understood that so far. Another one of the consequences of deforestation was desertification. Also, we should be taking up, we should be discussing in the next class. By the way, have a look at this animation where you can see that once a fertile land has now converted into a barren land. Hmm. So that's it for today. We'll be continuing from the next class. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. No questions?
No, sir.